to Sunday Brunch on Let's Camp Some More. Today we're sitting at Ohiopyle State Park, and I'm sitting with my friend James, and he works locally and been involved with some pretty neat projects recently, and he just started to tell me a little bit about something that they did recently, so I stopped him because I wanted to record the conversation. So here we are. So start over.
All right. Where do you want me to start? Let's see. So we were talking about
the tree, right?
Yeah. So the American chestnut.
American
used
chestnut
to be the most abundant eastern North American tree. Way back before they logged all of eastern North America. They used to be the most abundant tree, everywhere. And now you can hardly find any of them because a fungus that attacks their root system, and I'm not an expert on this, but it basically, they call it like a American chestnut blight. So it's this fungus that causes lesions to grow or blisters to grow on the tree, and they usually don't live much past 10 or 15 years, if that. And again, I'm not the expert on all that stuff, but it's pretty interesting because there are individuals that exist, in the forest. Like even this forest here may have, a half a dozen, maybe a dozen, and there's lots of trees around. But there'll probably be smaller trees, and they won't necessarily be viable to grow into maturity. There are researchers who are working on this problem, but it's a tough problem to solve because the blight's so ubiquitous, it's everywhere. So one of the projects that we're working on where I work is we're working on trying to artificially, quote-unquote artificially, pollinate some of these American chestnuts that do exist. And the way we do that is we get, somebody mails us some pollen, and we take the pollen, put them in balloons, fill the balloons with helium, and then we go into the woods with a fishing pole.
With the helium balloon?
Yeah, with multiple helium balloons. We did about a little over a dozen.
Are they like regular helium balloons, like you'd use for a birthday party or something?
Exactly.
Do they literally say "Happy Birthday" on the side?
No,
I want them to.
They're just colored.
They're
just colored balloons.
They say "Happy Birthday, Eric" on them.
That's right.
You could. You can use any balloon.
And they're tethered with a fishing pole.
So then we take a fishing pole, a really long fishing pole, in fact, and then we take them, and we also take a pellet gun. And the idea is that you let you need control. You can't just let it go, or else you're gonna, miss it. But
shoot twice and it's gone.
Yeah, right. Oops.
People in New Jersey's like, what the hell is this?
Yeah. And then so that's what we did. And we identified two trees.
So you tie it on and you tether it up.
Yep, and you just you let it out like the fishing pole. You gotta move it around and make sure it gets right where you want it. And then when it's there, the other person sits there with the pellet gun, and it has a scope on it, so it's really, and somebody sighted it in really nice, so it worked great every time. I think we only missed, once or twice the entire time.
So, because I was like, how many times would you have to shoot?
Yeah.
Dozens of times, or
just
shot and bang?
Just shot, bang, and then sometimes you'll see the puff of pollen just kind of floating in the air. And one time it floated away from the tree, so that wasn't too good. But the other times it floated just either right on the tree or right next to it, and we're hoping we'll go back in September and check to see if there are any
fruit.
See if there's any chestnuts that became pollinated, and then then we'll collect those, and then we'll try
the poopy wagon.
Sorry
about
camping.
that.
Yeah. So we'll try to then plant them and see what we can do.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah. So you're trying to find some trees that may be resistant.
Yeah, or at least more resistant. They've had some years. These trees have had some years to kind of adapt. So hopefully they can get something. These trees were so abundant in this climate, or at least the climate 100 years ago was perfect for them. So, the hope is that if they could get forest stands, it could be a very economically viable tree and very important to. All sorts of things.
So who got to shoot the pellet gun?
Oh, we took turns.
Took turns. Okay, good. Because I don't know, maybe maybe I'm a pellet gun hog.
Right,
No,
yeah.
I am doing this.
Yeah. So, but it is really cool because when there's a distinct pop, and and also on the second one that we did, we actually ran into some loggers, some guys who were actually logging down in the state forest just north of here.
And they were legally logging?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Good, because you don't want to run into log poachers.
Yeah, no.
That's a
no,
rough
these guys were legitimate, and then, they came upon us, and we were kind of blocking the road, and they were like, you guys have a key, you okay? Our car was clearly marked with who we were from, so they knew we were probably legit, but, and then we started talking to them and told them what they were doing, and they were like, oh, wow. Like, they were really into it. As loggers, they see forests much different than most people, and so when they heard that we were trying to do something good, and they knew that it was a chestnut tree. They know where. They were like, do you know about the other chestnut tree and this one over there? They knew where all of them were.
Oh yeah, I'm sure if they're doing state licensed logging, they know exactly what tree they may and what tree they may not log.
Yeah, and one of the interesting things the one guy said too is that he's like, what would be best for these forests is if there was some sort of controlled burning and that sort of thing. But that's something that's a little controversial at the state level. Private property you can do that a little bit more, but on the state parks they don't like that because
once a fire, gets bigger than then it's hard to say controlled and fire at the same time, or controlled burn. It's not a lot of control. It's more like hope.
Yeah.
Like a hope
right.
burn.
Well, especially when you're in these big forests that are fairly continuous. I mean, who knows what could happen. So, anyhow. So, that's what I did yesterday at work. It was a lot of fun.
That was work. You're just pellet gunning pollen balloons.
Yeah. So, fishing, hunting, and parties. We got it all.
That's right. You guys did it. All right. Well, thanks, James. That's a great story, and I think it's great work. And we hope everybody has a good week. And thanks for joining us here on Let's Camp Some More.